And now, introducing tonight's main attraction. It's the Never Beens podcast.
We're right in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not being caught doing that on camera. And,
Caught doing what?
And then you can, the jingle.
Do it. It was good. We're going to use it.
Not for me.
It was something like, da-na-na-na-na. Yours was a lot better.
That sounds like the Addams Family, the beginning of the Addams Family. All right, we don't have time for this. Welcome to week 2 of the Never Beens. We're going to be fairly quick with our recap. I say fairly quick, pretty much like a 2-minute drill here, because we got a great guest that we're going to bring on, and very excited for everyone to hear from and see what our guest has to say.
Yeah, so you want to just get to it real quick? We're going to review college football real quick and then get into NFL, and then we'll kind of do a intro into our first guest on the pod.
Speaking of college football, sort of a sleepy weekend for college football. So good weekend to a good week to kind of take a quick little dive in. There was not any games between ranked teams, I don't think. And
is that true?
I think there was any matchups between ranked teams.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through the top 25 games. I
don't think
Tennessee,
Florida, LSU.
Tennessee, Florida.
I don't think Florida was ranked. Yeah.
Oh, maybe they're ranked now.
Yeah. But obviously that was an upset. And then you had a lot of top teams: Texas, Florida State. I mean, Alabama,
Georgia.
And and Colorado's obviously had a lot of hype early in the year, all struggling, 3 touchdown plus favorites and not covering. Games were all kind of tight into the fourth quarter. And for Colorado, obviously went into overtime. So sort of a sleepy weekend for college football. Not much to talk about there. A little more excitement, hopefully coming in these next couple of weeks with a couple of more key matchups.
Yeah. Obviously everyone's talking about Colorado. I'm interested to see. I think they go to Oregon this week, and then Southern Cal. So
21 point dogs, I think. At least that's what I saw.
At Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then obviously I got to touch on Nebraska and Rule. Your boy got his first win in Nebraska. Who'd they beat? Northern Illinois? Southern Illinois?
Win's a win.
Honestly, don't know. Let me check real quick.
Can't play anyone but who they put in front of you.
I mean, that's true. But glad he got his home win against inferior opponent. Good job.
It's a victory. Don't be a hater.
Northern Illinois. So I was right. 35-11. I think he covered too. That's good.
It's a dominant victory. All right.
And I think he has Louisiana Tech this week, so maybe he could get to 500.
SMU, 69-0 victory. Nice.
Wofford, lost to Presbyterian. I thought they won. I was texting everybody that my Pups won, and then the app refreshed and they lost by 3. I guess they were up 4 and then lost by 3. So I guess they allowed a touchdown and still winless. So that's the Wofford report. Shocker.
Pups.
All right, NFL. We'll scroll through these real quick. Let me pull up week 2. Thursday night game. Minnesota.
A little bit of a 2-minute drill. Chris Berman, shout out Chris Berman type rundown here.
Yeah, I'll
go through them all.
I'll go through the games and the finals. You can kind of give some comments if you want. Philly 34-28 over Minnesota Thursday night.
Didn't watch much, but Vikings just struggling with turnovers. I saw some stat line where Kirk Cousins is on pace to throw for like 6,000 yards.
Yeah, he looks good, and then no one else is good.
Obviously, ton of turnover. I think a lot of fumbles.
Yeah. Chiefs 17 at Jacksonville 9.
Sort of a sleepy performance between two offenses that are supposed to be, on paper, 2 of the best in the NFL. Kind of an interesting game, just back and forth. The Jaguars had a couple chances late. In fact, Lawrence made some unbelievable throws late in the game, and guys just barely not getting their toes down in the back of the end zone. One to Ridley, and I think there was another one. But Chiefs hold on nonetheless.
Yeah. 2 good teams. I think the Jags are going to be pretty good this year. Lawrence looks really good.
They played good. I'm not sure about their defense yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, they held Chiefs to 17.
Yeah.
That says something.
Yeah, they did.
All right. Buffalo won 38-10 at home against the Raiders. Allen looked really good.
Yeah, bounce back performance from Allen. A very solid game from the Bills all around. Dominant defense. I think I want to say the Raiders marched right down the field and scored on the first drive of the game, and then didn't do much of anything after that. Did you see that Matt Milano interception?
Yeah, the little Moss.
Over the top of that was pretty unbelievable.
He's a beast.
Yes, sure is. Yes, he is.
Shout out to our buddy Luke. Is it Milano a Boston College backer too?
We'll go with yes.
I think that's true.
Sure, yeah.
All right. Baltimore went on the road and won 27-24 at Cincinnati.
Yeah. Bengals, not a great start for them offensively. They did come alive in the second half. I mean, I say come alive. They drove the ball down the field. I think every time they had it, they, went on a good long drive. I know there was a red zone interception by Burrow, which should have been run back for a touchdown. One of the weirdest interception returns I've ever seen. Guy, I can't remember his name, just ran out of bounds. Literally could have cut. It was Burrow and him, and he just ran out of bounds instead of cutting back.
He wanted to go celebrate and do the defensive little picture selfie thing instead of actually scoring.
I can't wait for that trend to be over.
I want to say the Saints started that trend back when we were playing. I forget what year it was.
I don't know. I'm tired of it, though. It's been going on.
It was unbelievably annoying. Yeah.
Way too long.
All right. Tennessee beat the Chargers 27-24.
Yeah, the Chargers, I don't know how they – I mean, obviously it's only been 2 games. They've been playing great offense. Herbert looks awesome, and they got nothing to show for it yet. I don't want to say same old Chargers because obviously it's early, but – and hopefully I love watching Herbert. Hopefully they can find a way to, get competitive record-wise, but because they've been in maybe should have won both of their games against Miami, and then obviously Tennessee losing both late, but tough start for them, obviously.
Yeah, I got 2 things on that. I saw a couple quotes. Sorry, my thing is struggling to load. I think they're the first team to score, I think it was 55 points and have 0 turnovers and start 0-2 in NFL history. So obviously, like you said, the offense is good. They got to figure out defense, or honestly, it'll work out if they continue to play like that on offense. They'll start winning games. And then the other thing was a quote my buddy sent me based on what you said about Herbert. This quote: Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is not an elite quarterback and struggles to read defenses, an AFC scouting director told @FanBuzz. Herbert isn't elite, first of all. He has elite talent. What are your thoughts on that quote?
I mean, that opens a whole can of worms in terms of what defines elite. I think he has elite potential. He's still young. I mean, he hasn't, what's the criteria for being an elite quarterback? That's kind of, do you have to, win some playoff games? That's kind of a can of worms type of debate there. I love watching him play. I love his talent. I love the way he throws the ball. I love the way he stands in there and takes hits. I mean, he does everything well, in my opinion. So,
I would love to know who that scouting director is in the AFC, because I'm sure their team would take him at quarterback, unless they're the maybe the Chiefs or the Bengals, or the Jaguars. But you could argue I might take Herbert over Burrow.
You could argue if you switch situations that Herbert may, but I don't know. That's an interesting quote, and I would say I don't know. Just that seemingly has a negative connotation, and I would just say I disagree with that. I think he's got all the tools and has played well too. I mean, he can't help it. The defense has given up 40 points and 27 points to an offense that I don't even think could score a touchdown against the Saints the week prior. So, seems a little silly to me.
Yeah, we'll check in on Herbert later. The season will follow along. Seattle went on the road and won 37-31 at Detroit.
Big win for the Seahawks after a not so great performance the week prior against the Rams. Obviously, divisional opponents, the NFC West, you don't really know what you're going to get in terms of who are the Rams going to be, but they're always competitive against the Seahawks. And then the Seahawks come out and go beat a Lions team that's kind of a sleeper NFC contender type team. And it was a back and forth game the whole time. They were going blow for blow. And so really good win for Seattle to bounce back.
Yeah, it was overtime. I'm pretty sure it was 21-14 at the half lines, and then Seattle scored in the first 2 minutes. Yeah, that's a good win.
Really good game.
I thought going in, my buddy's a Seahawks fan. I said that's the biggest trap game of the week. Detroit being favored by that much. I don't know if we touched on it last week. Indy won on the road 31-20 at Houston.
Lost Richardson, but a good win nonetheless. For he was playing well before he got hurt. So that's unfortunate. But the AFC South is going to be. Well, we'll see. I mean, Jaguars could run away with it, but every game's been kind of close there so far. So maybe a repeat of last year in terms of coming down to week 17, and you got a couple of 9-7 teams or something like that fighting for the division title.
Yep. Richardson, I think 3 rushing touchdowns already, but potentially 2 concussions. So obviously they need to figure that out. All right, Packers lost 24-25 at Atlanta.
Yeah. I don't know. That was an interesting one. Texting with some of my buddies during the game about how great the Packers looked and how LaFleur's offense looked like it did, kind of before Aaron got his hands all over it. I know some of those veteran quarterbacks like things a certain way, and the Packers looked great at times. And then just like the whole fourth quarter was like they totally stalled out. They were up by 2 scores at one point, and I don't know. Regardless, big win for the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons, they were my sleeper team this year. Just following the NFC South, I thought they have a really good roster, and even Ritter played not great. I think he was the lowest QBR for the week for any quarterback, and they still found a way to win. So
he'll be the big question mark when they play against elite opponents. They have playmakers all over the field. Bijan, Pitts, Drake London. Even Algier as a change of pace back for Bijan. They have weapons all over the place.
Cordarrelle too, Patterson.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Right, can't believe I forgot about him.
He's a beast. He's from around here. I used to train with him when he showed up at Velocity where I used to train. Trying to compare myself to him was an absolute joke. Chicago 17, Tampa 27.
Yeah, big win for the Bucs. Little teaser into our first guest.
Ooh,
awesome win for the Bucs. The Bears have looked totally lost on offense. I saw a couple clips that Orlovsky posted on his Instagram. Just they got to figure something out because they look lost.
There was one play, like a still frame of obvious single high safety, and he had the seam, no corner overlap, seam wide open, perfect pocket. And he's just, I don't know where Fields is looking.
Not good so far.
All right, Giants 31, Cardinals 28.
Great comeback, season-saving comeback, really.
Danny Dimes.
Lose to a Cardinals team that, if you were to lose to a Cardinals team that, doesn't have a ton of hope for this year, really, that would have been, but what a comeback. I mean, they were down, look, 0 points through the first 6 quarters, and then all of a sudden explode for 31 in the second half. That's big time for the Giants, for Dayball's squad and your boy Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes, baby, Latin legend.
That's right.
Also lost Saquon, but not as bad as they anticipated. So.
Oh, that's good. I didn't hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think they were fearing high ankle, and it was just a regular sprain. 3 weeks.
That's
ish.
Okay. Well, so you can live with that. You can survive that.
Yep. All right. Niners 30, Rams 23.
Yeah. I mean, not much to say. The 49ers just look great. I will say, I love watching Matthew Stafford play. He's throwing the guys I've never heard of.
I was going to say, can we talk about the little slot that's got 35 targets in his first 2 career games?
Puka Nacua, is that his name?
You tell me. I don't know. What a beast, though.
I hope I didn't butcher that.
Just getting an opportunity.
Yeah, and Stafford, I just love watching him play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it right. All right. Anyway, obviously Rams lost in the end. Another NFC West battle. Just kind of that division with those coaches. It's fun watching Shanahan versus McVay. But yeah, the Niners just look great. Speaking of teams that look great, Jets, Cowboys dominant. Don't know what the Jets are going to do.
Yeah, they lost. Final was 30-10, but it felt like it was 60-0.
The Cowboys kept settling for field goals late. They could have been a total blowout.
Speaking of that, Cowboys kicker, the soccer player, is impressive.
Yeah,
I don't remember his name, but they attempted a 55-yarder. It was right over the middle crossbar. It was probably good from 70 easily. That dude's got an absolute boot.
Missed that one.
Back to, I just want to comment real quick. I don't know if you saw it, the end of the Niners-Rams game. It was 30-23. The line, for our gambling listeners, the Rams were plus 7.5. It was 30-20. I think the clock was running, and the Rams went out and kicked a field goal to cover by a half point.
I had a buddy who had Niners -7 and had to push, which is not great.
At least he got the push, because some of the lines were 7.5.
7.5. That, yeah.
Which is the sucker line. Washington won at Denver 35-33. 2-0 Washington.
Yeah.
Your old team.
I was reading one of them. Yes. I was reading a Bill Barnwell article yesterday, just how Jekyll and Hyde the Broncos have looked, like totally dominant for stretches, and then they just have some bonehead plays, whether it be careless with the ball or just late hit penalties, extending drives for the offense, and they could, I don't know, fairly easily be 2-0, and instead they totally collapse in the second half and lose to Washington. So I will say Sam Howell looked like a different player after they fell down. After they, fell behind 21, whatever it was, 21-3 or 21-0. He looked like a totally different player after that and started feeding those weapons that he's got. And Washington looked good. Bieniemy.
Howell
plays for them. Yeah.
Howell, another Charlotte guy.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the Sunday night game. Miami won 24-17 at your other team, New England.
One of my other teams again. Dolphins, Pats. Yeah. Miami offense looks really good. Obviously, Patriots always have a, very good defense, or almost always have a very good defense. They've just fallen so far behind into such a deep hole early in games this year that both of them have been close in the end, but they don't give themselves a chance. Obviously, I like watching Mac just, as a former teammate and friend, but they're just not giving themselves enough chances to they're not necessarily built to play from behind. I mean, they're a team that's built to play with the lead. Obviously, most teams would like to be playing with the lead, but a lot of teams are, you find some teams are better suited to come back than others. And I would say so far the Pats just have a hard time when they have to, when they don't have a threat of giving the ball to Ramondre Stevenson.
Yep, I was going to say that. I'm assuming they want to run the ball with him and play action with Mac.
Now they are dealing with some offensive line injuries, so hopefully, as they get healthier, things will shift in that regard. But
that was one of my comments from that game. First comment: the rookie corner, is it Gonzalez from Oregon?
Yeah,
he's super impressive. He shadowed Cheetah the whole game. And then the other one is based on, you were saying, the lineman. How about the last play of the game? He didn't get the first down, but did you see the Hunter Henry?
Yes, it was Gesicki, but yes, that was hilarious.
Oh, Gesicki, yeah.
That was, what a heads up play by him. Trying to keep things alive, and then Cole Strange.
Lineman snagged it.
Almost, yeah, it was a great catch. He went way up and got it, and then obviously he got as close as you can get.
Yeah. Which
now obviously it wouldn't have been, they still had 35 yards to go, and I think 35 seconds left maybe, but still that would have made things interesting late.
Yep. All right, brings us into Monday night. Last night, our local team, Panthers.
Yeah.
Just Saints
You have to
defense.
give me a rundown. I was
Final New Orleans 20, Carolina 17. Panthers scored 8 points late, so it was really 20-9. But Saints defense was completely dominant. Panthers had no explosives. I don't think it was a tight game. And then
I saw a nice Bryce Young scramble for a first down late in the game. It might have been a fourth down conversion.
It wasn't fourth. I think it was the drive. It was 13-6, if I'm not mistaken. And they third down. I think they played man, and then the whole middle was wide open. And he, instead of sliding, he made, I think it was number 6 for the Saints, safety, maybe safety or back or miss, and he scrambled. That was probably their only explosive. But he needs to do more of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then the biggest play was 3rd and 3. I sent you the clip that they ran some like back sweeper play. You were saying that.
Yeah.
Typically 3rd and 3.
The idea is to try and get the back out lost through the linemen and get him out to the flat. And
they assume man.
My experience with it is that play would be alerted versus zone to something else, to a different answer. Hard to say situation wise if there was an alert that was missed, but I mean, obviously you're dead in the water.
Dead.
If you end up running that play and the defense zones everything off, because it's really just a 2-man route. And I think he was, I'm not sure who the tight end was trailing, but it's really just back to tight end. And then you can kind of, it turns into a scramble play after that.
Yeah, it was Hurst it was a 3-by-1. Hurst on back. He was doing a chip drag.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought either Mingo or Thielen blew the play, because I thought it was mesh. I thought it was a mesh with what's his name? Chark on the post or clear out. And I thought one of the guys at the bunch had either a corner or a dig.
Typically, they're both trying to screen for both of those guys coming across. So they're going to screen for the guy covering the back and the guy covering the tight end, so that, if one guy drops off for the back, then you have the tight end there. I've seen some huge plays throwing the ball to the tight end on that sort of concept with him trailing behind and it's lost in the trash. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we used to run that with Olsen all the time. Sweeper.
Similar action, yes.
And I think they called something similar to Hurst last week. All right, last game, Pittsburgh won 26-22 against the Browns. Your other team.
Yeah, I mean, 4 turnover, wild first quarter, and then after that, it just kind of turned into a little bit of a back and forth game. The Steelers' offense finally came alive. I think they may have gotten a first down finally on like the last. Maybe it wasn't even in the first quarter. It might have been the end of the second quarter. They were really struggling, and then came alive in the second half. But Watt looked unbelievable. I think obviously Parsons is probably the best defensive player in the league, but Watt right behind him. So fun to watch him play sometimes, unless you're playing quarterback. And then other than that, it was kind of a back and forth game all the way. And the Steelers came out, they scored last. So there you go. There's your quote unquote 2-minute drill.
I just want to say Chubb got a pretty bad knee injury or leg injury, which
yeah,
for the Browns.
And that's having played with him, obviously unbelievable player, but one of the nicest guys of all time. I mean, of all time. And you never want to see anyone get injured, but just watching him and how hard he works and how just what a great guy he is, man. That was I felt terrible for him, because you could tell immediately he knew, and he sat up, and then he was like, no, and that was sad.
Yeah. Well, dang. All right, well, that wraps up the recap. We went a little longer than we anticipated, but do you want to? We teased it a little bit earlier when we were on the.
Yeah, absolutely. Very fortunate this week to have, number one, a great friend of mine. Number two, an awesome player and someone who well, you'll hear a little bit about his journey, but it's even very different than Burse and I's, and so fun to listen to him share some stories, some good times from the past, and give each other a little shit. So it's a good time. I hope you guys enjoy listening to our interview with Baker Mayfield.
Let's take it to it. Baker, do you even remember that? Because I barely remember it. Glanch had to remind me.
No, I don't.
Why did you even?
It was right after I signed in Cleveland. So Baker was just making sure I was going to make it back for workouts on Monday. Just checking on his roommate, and we were having a master's party, and we went outside to FaceTime, and that was 10 or 15 minutes before or after, I think before a chair got thrown off your balcony when Tiger drained a putt on 14.
Oh, it was on the Saturday that he was balling, the year he won.
We were having mint mojitos.
Did you say mint mojitos?
Yeah, mint mojitos. I just felt like it was like a fancy, I don't know, like a master style drink.
What the fuck is a mint mojito? Doesn't every mojito have mint?
Yeah.
No. I think you can do like a peach mojito if you wanted to.
No,
yeah, but you would just call it
mojitos.
Why don't you
go mojitos are like Travis, Ohio.
Nice Bucs hat.
Thank you. RIP.
I lost mine.
RIP to match what?
Yeah, I had a Yeti like that and it was white and I lost mine. And
Olivia Burson Real Estate.
Is that our presenting sponsor?
Well, I had to wear this. My Glanch jersey.
Well,
that's a good one.
I don't think probably he even knows where that comes from.
I don't know where Glanch comes from. I just know that that's the name.
So,
you want to tell it?
Well, Burse actually came up with the nickname because apparently, which I don't necessarily buy this because I'm not a meathead at all. But apparently, I was lifting heavy weight.
You were.
I mean, not compared to you.
You were being a meathead for a quarterback.
Okay. Do you still squat, Baker? Do you still squat?
I decline to answer that.
So anyway, he tells me that there was this guy, Matt Blanchard, right? That was the origination. And he tells me that I'm like this guy Blanche with a G. So I'm just Glanch. My nickname is just a ripoff of some other dude that I've never even met.
Yeah, but you're a meathead.
And then 3 months later, Burse is the only guy on the whole team that calls me that. 3 months later, we're in training camp practice. And Cam randomly just tunes in to Burse calling me that. And he's like, Glanch. And his like eyes lit up. And then the next day, the entire team, I was Glanch. So,
that was your cool Cam nickname?
That was my cool. Well, I had another one. And this
what was your other one?
My other one was only in our quarterback room, and it originated during preseason, and it has to do with my middle name, which I don't know if I'm comfortable sharing. But
what is your middle name?
Story, I will. Well, my middle name is Antone, which I think and so Cam decided that on the field I was now Antoine, and then off the field I was Blanche. My nerdy alter ego, I guess.
Split personalities.
Yeah.
Antoine.
I love that.
But yeah, Blanche was an actual meathead. This guy would lift shirtless with like a chain on, like with Jay Stu. He'd be like lifting with outside the box guys, like CrossFit guy. And then remember Shula came in the weight room once. He was over in the corner with DA, and he was like, "You never want to see your quarterback doing that." And then he was unfortunately cut like a couple weeks later.
Well, the other good story is your nickname from Cam. If Baker, Lord Farquaad comes from.
Lord Farquaad was mine.
That's a tough look.
You've seen Trek, I'm assuming. Do you know
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You know the Lord Farquaad character?
I do.
He's like the short king with like dark hair. So
yeah, I had to look that character up because we had a kid that we called Lord Farquaad in high school.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
So I used to have long blonde hair. So he was going for Prince Charming, the character in Shrek that has the long blonde hair.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I corrected him in the cafeteria once. I was like, "Why do you call me Lord Farquaad?" And he I'm like, dude, you have the characters wrong. He's like, well, I'm not calling you Prince Charming, and we're just going to stick with Lord Farquaad.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep. So it's stuck.
That's Lord Farquaad.
I guess before we get into the fun stuff, could you just tell us about just a little bit about, we kind of shared, obviously we're just getting started, but we kind of shared our sort of high school journeys and then into recruitment processes. And I think it'd be interesting to hear yours, obviously as much detail as you want. Verse probably doesn't know near as much about it.
Yeah.
About just kind of how you got to OU.
But even, Baker, not to interrupt, but even before that, because you growing up in Lake Travis or same high school as Blanche, you could even go short about middle school and the high school and all that stuff too.
Yeah. So growing up in Lake Travis, as Garrett knows, the program was not good at all. And it actually was my godfather who was the head coach when they went 1-19 before Jeff Dykes took over. And so the Lake Travis football program was quite honestly a joke. But that my godfather, he coached at Oklahoma at one point. And him and my dad, obviously, that was the connection there. They were best friends, and their whole group, they were on the Switzer staff originally, like back in the 70s. And so growing up, I had like those old coaches were kind of like a lot of my uncles, not really my uncles, but my uncles. And so grew up an OU fan because they would always talk about back in the good old days, Oklahoma football. And so I grew up going to those games with a lot of those guys, seeing that. And then, so I fell in love with Oklahoma football at that early age, before Lake Travis football was anything. And then I didn't start playing Pop Warner until 5th grade, which at that point in Lake Travis area was a little bit later than everybody else, all the crazy parents and just the atmosphere. And so from that day, like when Jeff Dykes came in and took over Lake Travis, we started to get a lot better. And just watching some of the older QBs, as Garrett knows, obviously they're a little bit closer in age to him. And then watching Todd Reesing and kind of my style of play when I was younger, I was definitely a lot faster comparative to now. Well,
I don't know. I saw that run on Sunday.
It's
relatively.
That's how I remember it. I've been hitting that.
Relatively.
That's how I remember it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But in watching Todd Reesing play and just how he was built, because I wasn't the biggest guy, so watching Todd Reesing at Lake Travis, how he played, just kind of running around, making plays happen. And then when he got to Kansas, that's when Kansas had that good run, went to the Orange Bowl and won. Obviously, they had a good team. But then getting to watch Garrett play. And so, like, I grew up an OU fan, but when I was younger, like, Lake Travis football started to become a dynasty. And so that was my first dream, was like, all right, I want to play quarterback for Lake Travis. And so late bloomer. In middle school, I was the backup in 7th grade. 8th grade, I got to start. Freshman year, I was rotating with somebody else until he was in the weight room and like missed a step on like barbell step ups in the weight room, fell over and like broke his back.
Quarterbacks in the weight room.
Yeah, that was definitely pre sports science. Everybody using barbell step ups. Yeah, that's not a good idea by any means. So that was the only reason I got to start my freshman year. And so then going into sophomore year, our head coach had just left. Chad Morris had just left. Hank Carter was taking over for the program. The whole staff was staying, but was trying to compete just on JV. Wound up getting a starting job on JV. So I was 5'2" going into freshman year, into the year at 5'5". And then coming into sophomore year, I had hit a big growth spurt. So I was 5'10", starting the JV A team.
Let's just real fast. Like, you were 5'2", but your mouth was like 6'3".
Yeah.
I mean, on the Razzle field.
Because I know when to put people like you in their place.
Okay. Well, yeah. No, you're right. I'm just saying. I mean, that's where obviously you've always had that little chip on your shoulder, and that's been more than well documented. But like,
little side story. In the midst of like growing up there and like wanting to play for Lake Travis, Garrett's younger brother Griffin was exactly 1 year older than me. We have the same birthday, but my older brother's 1 year older than Garrett. So just we're close in age. We're playing sports around the same year, so we knew the Gilbert family, obviously. And I got invited to play Razzle, which is the greatest game ever invented. I don't know if you guys have talked about that yet.
We went over it in the first or second episode.
Yeah, it's a great game. Really a majestical sport. I finally got invited to my first Razzle game, and that's really when I started to get a little bit more chippy. That's where Garrett's talking about the trash talk and everything coming forward, getting to know these older guys and the football stuff, and that's when I really truly started having fun playing football because of the relationships that I was actually building at that point. And so then it just grew. Our friend group was unbelievable, but coming in to high school, they had just won 2 state championships in a row. So Lake Travis Dynasty was just starting right then. Get to the point, sophomore year, play on JV. And then going into junior year was really, and as you guys know, recruiting nowadays starts earlier and earlier for quarterbacks. Yeah. And so junior year was, looking forward to possibly getting a starting job and getting recruited for that. Was still playing baseball at the time, and wound up not getting the starting job for the varsity team. Was going to be the backup. We had another kid named Colin Lagasse who was an unbelievable athlete. It was like an all-state safety, running back, utility guy that they were going to put back there. So we go to play Westlake at University of Texas Stadium. First game of the year. There's 45,000 people there. And fourth play of the game, Colin goes down. So here I come running in, young baby-faced Baker. And
5'5" though.
What season was that again? What year was that? 2000.
That was 2011.
Okay, yeah.
Wait,
so
pause real quick. How much older are you, Glanch, than Baker? How many years?
4 years.
Yeah, I was a senior. He was in 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Michael Brewer came after Garrett, and then it was going to be Colin, and then I took over. So yeah, I come running in.
It shouldn't have been. I mean, maybe we get Hank on sometime and have a discussion about how Colin should have been playing running back the whole time. But
Hank's a defensive coach. You know how the defensive coaches are in their egos. So
he's just was he just one of those super athletic dudes that they're like, let's just put him at quarterback, let him run around.
Yes. Yeah, and they were worried about the O-line. That was the excuse. Actually, that's what I was told. I don't really know the real reason. We should definitely interrogate him for that one. But yeah, I come running in there, first game of the year, and truly didn't look back. Started the next 15 games. We went 16-0, won the state championship. And so at that point, I'm still playing baseball, but I'm really starting to get serious about football. And going into that spring, I got my first offer from Rice to play baseball and football. And I was so excited because I thought okay, here it starts. I got to play for a season, starting to get offers. So that offseason, I got 4 more Division I offers. It was New Mexico. So it was Rice, New Mexico, Florida Atlantic, Army, and then Washington State when Leach was coaching there. RIP to the Pirate.
Wait, Glanch, Baker, who's the coach at Florida Atlantic? Wasn't there a big-time coach that – was it the guy that's now
Kiffin wasn't there.
Oh,
no,
okay.
not when I was getting recruited there.
It was an older coach. I can't remember his name, but he was like Howard Schnellenberger or something like that, right?
I'm
wrong.
Now.
Never mind. I don't know.
I was just thinking if it was Kiffin, but never mind.
Yeah, some of their assistants, their coordinator now is the running backs coach in Baltimore. So I saw him in the preseason a couple weeks ago. We told the story how we went to Chili's when they tried to get me to commit. Chili's can't beat a triple dipper in a scholarship. You know what I mean?
That would have gotten my wife to commit. She loves Chili's.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I'm going into that off season, get a few of those offers, and I'm obviously growing up an Oklahoma fan, my standards are okay, big time Division I college football, and none of the offers that I really wanted were coming in, and so I'm getting a little frustrated. Everybody else has their commitments already. So going into senior year, we had lost so many guys on our high school team, and then that next year, so we had won 5 state championships in a row at that point. So my senior year was fully grown at that point, and just we stunk. We had so many injuries. We had so many guys hurt in the O-line, 4 out of our 5 starting linemen. I wound up being the heaviest guy if you compare the quarterback to the O-line. Our left tackle ran the 400 for the track team. So there's that. So we wound up going – yeah, exactly. We wound up going 11-2 or no.
That's not bad.
10-2.
That's not bad. I guess relative to state champs.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
you know,
And we had a 30-game playoff winning streak.
But I guess not bad.
Yeah.
You blew Glanch's playoff winning streak?
I mean, it wasn't mine at that point, but yeah.
Well, I think you want to claim it, considering you just talked about the state championship record.
Okay, maybe a little bit. All right.
But yeah, when that happened, that I was I thought my life was over. I'm like, oh gosh. So my offers didn't come in. I didn't have the success. And at the time, TCU was really heavily recruiting me, and they were at that playoff game that we lost. And so I was like, oh man, I think I just blew it. And so going in after the season, still going to play baseball my senior year in the spring, and just hoping that at some point somebody's going to pull the trigger on a scholarship like TCU might, and then that might force somebody else to do it. Like, hey, they might see something we don't.
So you didn't happen. You didn't have any offers from, let's just call it the big conference FBS teams?
No. I mean, Washington State was the only one that was in a Power 5, Pac-12 at the time. Other than that, yeah, it was nothing. So really frustrating. Yeah. And so that spring, I'm on the phone with Leach, the guys at Florida Atlantic still, and I'm about to commit to one of the schools just to do it and take a scholarship because financially at the time our family was going through some tough times. And so I was like, I'm going to take a scholarship, make it easy. So me and my dad talk. We get into quite a heated argument that I needed to walk on if I really wanted to chase my dreams and play big time ball. And so that conversation, I'll tell you what, did not go very well at all. It was one-sided, and wound up settling down and being like, okay, all right, maybe walking on's good. So full circle here, Eric Morris was the offensive coordinator for Mike Leach in Washington State. Cliff Kingsbury had just gotten the Texas Tech job. So Eric was in Lubbock now as the coordinator as well. Now I'm looking to walk on. Familiar face there. I knew Cliff when he was at Houston. So just a couple of pieces there. And the quarterback before me at Lake Travis, Michael Brewer, was at Texas Tech as well. So there was a lot of key pieces there. Same system kind of.
I met Brewer through Glanch. He was at Texas Tech?
Yeah.
I thought he was at Virginia Tech.
He transferred after 2012?
It was right when I left.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So after 2013, Michael transferred.
How many years was he at Texas Tech? Couple, three?
I think he went 3 and 2, and he did the same thing I did. He graduated from Texas Tech and transferred to Virginia Tech and played for 2 years.
Did he play at Texas Tech?
Sparingly. He was the backup 1 year.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So I decided to walk on there and walked on with my best friend from our high school. That was he was my slot receiver, Zach Austin. So we walked on together.
We may or may not have some questions from him later on.
From the gallery. I got one sent to me from.
I'm not even going to explain Zach then because his questions will just do it for him. God, yeah. So we walked on together, and my heart at that point, obviously, I didn't want to walk on. I believed that I deserved a scholarship. Get there in July, get the starting job. Play the first 5 games. We're 5-0. We're sitting at number 10 in the country. Then I sprained my MCL, and I'm out for a couple weeks. And so when I got back, they had lost a few games in a row, and I thought I was just going to step right back in to the role I had and earned. Well, that wasn't the case. So I didn't play for 5 games. We had lost 5 in a row. We're 7-5. They throw me in for the last couple. And this is right around Thanksgiving time. I went in and asked Cliff if I was going to get a scholarship for the spring. And he was like, no, you need to go talk to operations guys. So I go in and talk to him and ask the same question. Like, hey, do you guys have a scholarship for me in the spring? I put in my time here. I feel like I'm the starting quarterback. I feel like I've earned that. He's like, oh, no, we don't have one for the spring, but we're still working on one for the next fall. And at that point, I'm like, what the hell? I feel like I definitely deserve that.
You were a true freshman and started.
Yeah.
As a walk-on.
Yeah. And so, and fun fact, my first game ever was against Glanch here.
We don't have to talk about that.
No, I want to talk about it.
We don't have to talk about that. It wasn't a good night. I mean, it wasn't a fun night.
There was 4 Lake Travis QBs in that game.
You know what? I actually, yeah.
Who were the 4?
So, Michael was injured. Baker and I were starting. And then Colin, the guy who was starting before Baker at Lake Travis, came to SMU as an H-back type player.
Oh, nice. So who won?
Not us. I don't want to talk about it. I told you.
What was the final?
A lot to a little.
I mean, I can Google it. Let the people know.
41-23, and we scored with literally 1 second left to make it, not a blowout.
People don't forget, it still counts.
Thank you.
Baker 1, Blanche 0.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, I thought it was a fun fact just to throw into the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really.
Listeners want to know.
Really
fun facts. Yeah, we're going through the story. Might as well add some fun facts in there. But yeah, so at that point, wasn't going to get the scholarship. I was so frustrated. I was like, all right, I need to get out of here. And called my family back home. I was like, hey, I think I need to transfer. Let's figure something out. Because I had applied out of high school to Oklahoma and gotten accepted, I was able to leave in December and get enrolled for the spring semester. And when I told Tech that I was transferring, they blocked my transfer for a few schools, all of the Big 12, but then they blocked it for a couple other schools. And so I wasn't allowed to reach out to the coaching staff at Oklahoma because the recruitment rules at that point, transfer rules were so different, even for walk-ons.
I can't even follow them anymore.
Yeah. And so basically drove up with my mom to Norman from Austin, moved into the normal dorms, enrolled in class. And I was on campus for a month before NCAA sent a letter that I could participate in football activities. So when I finally got the letter, I just showed up to a team dinner and introduced myself to Bob Stoops and was like, hey, I'd love a chance to play for you if you'll have me. And that's literally, I just showed up, went to school, worked out at the rec, intramural sports, and then finally got to join the team.
What sports?
Not basketball. I hope to God you didn't play basketball.
I did play basketball.
Oh my God.
What position? Are you a corner shooter? Are you a slasher?
He's
more like the guy you sub in to annoy the best player, just to play defense, be scrappy.
Yeah, every team's got one of those guys.
It's it's much like the scene in Along Came Polly.
So you're not shooting.
Iceman? No, I'm more of an effort guy.
I'll just say this. We've played a lot of pickup basketball. If he shoots the ball, he's getting slapped.
Hey, he says he knows his role.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
It was good softball, flag football, and basketball. Basketball didn't last very long. Actually, neither did the football.
You said it earlier. Baseball was a big thing growing up. I played baseball too, and I tried to play both at Wofford is where I went, and then the football coach didn't let me. Glad he didn't. But what position did you play, and then did you think about going back to baseball during all this at all, or was it kind of?
Yeah, so when I got to Tech, I was going to play baseball as well. But I was mostly third base, played a little shortstop. My junior year, the only spot open was first base. I had never played it in my life. But we had all seniors, and I was the only junior to start, so they put me there. I was like a lost puppy out there. But I was a good hitter. I swing left-handed. I just somehow get in the lineup. Hit cleanup that year.
Oh, wow. Power.
But not a home run guy. More just extra bases.
Yeah. Gapper?
I'm a big gapper. Our power hitter was our catcher hitting behind me. But, I was going to play at Tech when I got there, obviously transferred, and Josh Heupel put the kibosh on that one. He said, you're not playing baseball. You're only playing football here. Yep. So I fell in line.
Looking back, maybe a smart decision.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Baker, no, I got a quick recruiting question with Tech because we talked about it with my journey where I wasn't like Garrett, where I had a bunch of scholarships. It was Wofford, and then I had some preferred walk-ons. So our quarterback was super highly recruited. UNC, Butch Davis was there. They offered me a preferred walk-on. Is that what Tech did? Did you have a bunch of schools basically say, we kind of like you, but we don't like you enough to give you a scholarship? It's kind of a slap in the face.
And that's what Tech did. Oklahoma didn't do that. TCU did the same thing, but they were so expensive to go there.
And the way, and if I'm not to put words in your mouth, but the way it was handled, right? I know you wanted to go to TCU, or at least you wanted to go there because you were showing interest, but the way they handled the preferred walk-on spot was not
Yeah, like they let it on and just I was left in the dark about a lot of it. So yeah, it wasn't a very good taste in my mouth for that one. And then come to find out, speaking of the walk-on spots, my dad had called, and I didn't know this until after the fact, had called Texas and used some of the connections that he had and asked about a spot to walk on, and they said they didn't even have room for me to walk on.
Damn.
So
Damn, Mitch. That's your
I
spot.
I got nothing to say, and I won't defend their actions. I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
Hey, real quick,
fuck 'em.
I think I might need another bullet. If anyone needs a drink refill, do we want to pause real fast? Can
Yeah, we paused.
Yeah, thank you.
Mountains are blue.
Yeah, mountains are blue. Well, these
Did the whole thing.
have been great. So spring. Did you participate in spring or just play intramurals? I know you said you walked up and introduced yourself.
Yeah, did intramurals for a little bit. It was just working out the rec, and then it was like early February was when I got to join the team, and at that point they're already like over a month into winter workouts. And I tell you what, I was not in good shape compared to them. So I showed up talking trash, ready to go, and then I show up for my first Jerry Schmidt workout. He's a legendary strength coach there at Oklahoma, and I got welcomed to the real world pretty quickly. And yeah, it was pretty eye-opening to see the difference in programs, to be honest with you, and like the standard of what I was walking into. But I loved that at the same time, because like the standard, like Travis was high, used to that, not used to losing 5 games in a row like we did at Tech, and then getting there, and like it felt like home though. Like I wanted to be there, my heart was in it, so it felt like it was all worth it. And then we got to suit up for spring ball, and at that point was still fighting with the NCAA to try and get my eligibility, like to be immediately eligible that year for 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously didn't wind up getting it, that granted, didn't win that battle, but it wound up, looking back on it, a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, wound up being one of the like best things for me, to having played freshman year, then showing up to Oklahoma and redshirting that year, sitting out doing scout team too.
Yeah. And so initially, so maybe Burst, who doesn't understand this necessarily, but you were not only going to have to sit out a year, but you were also going to basically lose the ability to redshirt. That year was going to still count, right? Yeah. Initially, before they changed the rule, right?
Yeah. So went through the 2014 year as if that was my sophomore year, and then went into 2015. So that season goes, Oklahoma didn't have a very good year at all. We were 8-5. Lost at that point. Josh Heupel got fired, and so did Jay Norvell, who's now Colorado State head coach. He was our receivers coach and passing game coordinator.
He was running.
So he's in the news.
Dion yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a name that people might recognize there. So those two guys got fired, and that's when we hired Lincoln. And so he came in, and obviously similar system to Texas Tech, spread offense. He's a Leach guy. His coaching career started there when he was early 20s. And so he came in, and that was something I was familiar with. But it was a battle. Trevor Knight was the starting QB at Oklahoma at the time. So spring ball of 2015, we're going through it. And also Cody Thomas, who was a two-sport athlete as well. He was playing baseball, still playing in the minor leagues right now. But, I was going through with those 3 guys. And they're great. We're friends for life. But, yeah, it was a heated battle. Didn't get announced that I was going to start for that 2015 year until like halfway through camp, like almost to the first game. And so going into that year, like we mentioned, lost my eligibility. So I was technically a junior. So played that year. We won the Big 12, went to the playoffs, and just got absolutely smoked by Clemson in the Orange Bowl.
Yep.
So then going into 2016 was when finally had fought the NCAA enough, got my eligibility back. So I went from being a junior in 2015 to then basically redshirt junior in 2016.
Oh wow, they retroactively gave you a year.
Yeah.
Was that like was that like a pending thing they were reviewing, or was it?
Yeah,
a surprise to you that
just ongoing appeals. I had to write letters. Our president of Oklahoma called in the NCAA. Like there were so many people actually involved in this. Looking back on it, and I got a call in the offseason of 2016 that I was getting that year of eligibility back. So like that was such a relief to be able to get that back, and know that it didn't have to be my last year there. I didn't know what the plan was by any means, whether I was going to try and enter the draft or not at that point. Was just mostly focused on trying to redeem ourselves and get back at, a national championship thought. But had so much fun there in 2016. We started off rough, and then going into my senior year when I decided I was going to stay for one more year, we had a great team. We were ready to roll. The most fun I've ever had playing football. Had graduated in May, only had a couple online classes that season. So my senior year was just all strictly football and enjoying it with everybody there. And going into year 3 with Lincoln, had that system down to a T. We were on the same page. Everybody knew what we were doing. And yeah, it was the most fun I had playing football ever, and got to enjoy that successful year. And thought we were going to win the Natty, but then lost to Georgia in the Rose Bowl, which
you said you were going to take a sack on talking about that. So
yeah, true. You did say that.
Well, I said then I talk about our special teams coach that decided to squib kick before halftime, and he's a dumbass.
All right, I listened to that episode, and I don't remember this game. So what was the score in situation, and what did the special teams do that was stupid? I don't remember.
I don't remember the exact score. I remember we were at least up by 2 scores.
Yeah,
and
y'all were in control of the game at halftime.
Yeah. I mean, we had tempo going. They didn't know what we were doing. We were in control. We squib kicked it. There's less than a minute. There's probably 30 or so seconds, and we squib kick it. One of their front guys hits it. They get it right around midfield. Don't even need to run.
What had y'all done that previously? Did the coach just freak out? Like what? I've never seen a team squib with 30 seconds left.
Exactly. I don't know if they were worried about their athletes returning it to the house, as if we hadn't scored multiple times and kicked them off a regular fucking kickoff.
This one is where we got to make sure we tackle them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, come on. They get within field goal range, and Rodrigo Blankenship kicks a field goal, so they get momentum going into the half, and it was never the same game after that.
Chubbers got loose, I think, is what happened.
Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, and DeAndre Swift. That's called a 3-headed monster for those of you that don't know.
Dude, that backfield was loaded.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Scary good. Yeah. And their defense was obviously good. Georgia's ridiculous. But, yeah, so we lost that game. And
in overtime, I mean, it was still competitive, obviously.
Yeah.
It went to overtime, right? And then, yeah.
Was this the year Georgia played Bama in the championship?
Yes, and Bama won.
In the Tua game?
Yes.
Is that year?
Yes.
Yeah, because Jake Fromm was a freshman.
Okay, well, there we have it.
Yeah, that's the upbringing into college.
Your trip through college.
Wild journey there.
I mean, we don't have to, but Heisman.
Yeah, I mean recapping the Heisman. So 2016, I got to go to the ceremony. I was a finalist, and that was the year Lamar just was an absolute freak. Like, I was going to New York. Dede Westbrook, my receiver, was going as well. So we were just going to go enjoy it. Like, we both knew we weren't winning it. Like, there was zero doubt that Lamar did not deserve, or that he did deserve that trophy. So we were like, we're not winning it. So we just went and enjoyed it. His mom was there, brother, and my family was there. So we just got to know the security people there running the event. And then so the next year when we get to go back, we already know everybody. It's like a little welcome home. And I felt pretty good about my chances that year. And just
who else was in the running that year? The year you won? I'm trying to remember.
Lamar went back, and goodness, I'm going blank. We're gonna have to edit this one because I feel bad.
Was it Tua?
Was Sam invited?
Bryce Love, was that his name?
Yeah, the running back from Stanford.
Right. Oh yeah, Stanford.
Yeah. So that year it was Lamar and Bryce from Stanford, and it was just the three of us. And I felt good about my chances that year. So was enjoying that and just having fun with it. But I mean, one of those things that you look back and like just cherish that moment forever. Like just actually hearing your name called when there's all the former winners up there in that place, just like so surreal. Because like you look back at like when we were growing up, we were playing NCAA football and doing like the My Heisman campaign and trying to win it and, creating your player and bumping his stats up. But it was awesome to actually get to live that dream.
Did you play that NCAA football? I think first year they did the like Heisman thing where you like start in the dorm room and you're like a walk-on freshman or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
God,
you can't even bump your stats up. You just got to actually play.
It's supposed to come back next year.
It'll never be the same.
They said that last year though.
Well, yeah, I think it's supposed to launch in 2024. I mean, we'll see, but
hopefully Wofford will be in it.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Oh, you guys have Bulldogs, right?
They'll be FCS Southeast.
What are you?
Terriers.
Terriers.
Terrier.
Oh.
Wofford Terriers. Yep. Little sassy dog. I'm trying to think. All right, post college. Obviously, I wanted to ask you, like, in the training process. I heard on the other podcast that you trained with the slicer, Clausen. You might not know that nickname. That's a Cam nickname.
That's a Cam nickname.
Jimbo Slice, Jimmy Clausen. But it just stuck, so we all
sense.
called him the slicer.
Yeah.
How was training with him? I haven't talked to him in forever.
I loved getting to know Jimmy. The first few times we were doing our draft prep, I would just go over to his house in the morning before like throwing and workouts, and he was having his morning coffee, kids running around, and just got to know him in the draft prep, not realizing that I had no idea the mental side of things that actually came with this. And he's like, here, when you're talking about your reads, you need to go through these points. Like, you need to talk about the progression of the read, the drop, and when you're doing this and this and this. I'm like, well, fuck, man, I'm in the spread. Like, you just find the open guy and throw it to him. Like, what do you mean? If you have a run play called, you have a bubble and you have numbers, you just throw it. Like, what do you mean? So that was no, Jimmy was great during that process, but it was definitely I needed that help for sure.
That's funny. That's very like, or at least it seems like that's very like where Jimmy played in Carolina. That seems very Shula-esque, the way like just like the process of like literally you're sitting in meetings. I mean, I don't know if you've been anywhere yet where you said that, but it's like literally like, all right, what's my drop? What's my progression? What's the purpose of the play? And it's like,
yep.
I think I'm just looking for the open guy, coach. I'm not.
You go through the install. It's like, all right, here you go, you little robot. What's your drop? And you go, on this second. Where's the ball supposed to be? 0.3 milliseconds slow. You're in the wrong spot. Check it down. I'm like, all right, let's relax here. But not knowing that it was going to be the reality when I got to Cleveland.
Receiver's a lot easier, it sounds like, than quarterback.
I mean,
seems like a lot more fun.
Is there any doubt about that?
Yeah, just all right. You have a 6. All right, I'm running a 6. That's it. Throw it to me, Blanche. It's about that simple.
I wonder how many people actually use the digit system now still.
Do you in Tampa?
No, we don't. No.
So I was only with one team, Carolina. So I was only with one, like Shula's offense. So we were digits, but we started transforming it into nicknames to where like
it went away.
What 767 had a code name. So it almost like phased out.
Yeah. Seemingly the only digit systems that I was in, that's how it was. It was just everyone was turning it into code names because they thought it was easier.
Yeah. It was for hurry up purposes, I feel like.
Yeah, like when I was coming out for the draft, I remember like the pre-draft visits, there was a couple teams that were still digits, but then was not the case when I actually got into real meetings. I don't know if they were still just trying to give me dumb stuff to see if I could remember it or what.
Well, here's a dumb question because I'm only come from one offense. What in your brain with just a code word, how do you describe the play? So like for me, jet, I would hear and I'd be like, that's 767. Are you in your head saying that's a corner, dig corner? Like how are you describing it or thinking of it? I don't know if that makes sense.
I think I'm not going to answer for him, but at least for me, I just see a picture of it.
Yeah.
So I don't think about.
But y'all don't use digits at all, like to describe the route tree. You wouldn't say like, hey, on that 7 route, you would say that corner route or what?
Defenses will use the digit term. Like talking to some of the guys are like, hey, I see spot 7. Like But offenses don't talk about it that way. It's you see the corner out, and you got to dig, you got this and that. No, like I like Garrett, coming from being in a consistent offense at Oklahoma, then being in Cleveland and having so many different coordinators, and I know Garrett can relate to this. When you start to have to learn a bunch of different systems, you just picture the play and then just memorize the terminology.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you survive at a certain point, having to adapt so quickly, because you can't be thinking, all right, what does this mean? You hear it, you're like, okay, boom, boom, I'm good. And then from there, like the protection rules are always like, that's the most important. And that's, if you can get those down, and you really can't reinvent the wheel with those. If you can get those down quickly, then you can play it pretty fast.
Yeah.
Some people like to say Garrett's a system guru.
Well, he's probably been in like 30 of them through his career.
You go throwing that guru term around.
First, I'll say this.
Throwing that guru term around.
So I obviously always respected Garrett, looked up to him, and then had never worked with him before. But when he got to Cleveland, and we were going through the install, what?
I have no clue where this is going, but I
love it.
Well,
keep going.
Just talking about the protections, and I had never tried to be an antagonist with any sort of play call. I'm like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna make it work somehow. Garrett comes in and he's poking holes in some of these protections and all the terminology and all the basically just semantics about certain stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing coming here and poking holes through my offense? I'm supposed to be running the show here.
Just give me the
This
play.
guy's telling me we're all screwed up. He just got here 2 seconds ago. What the hell, Garrett?
He's a know-it-all.
Yeah, but it was eye-opening to see, like, all right, you got to have all your bases covered if you're going to be able to truly grasp the offense.
I liked what I heard you say the other day, where you want to. I mean, you can really take it into any game, and I think a lot of teams struggle with this about just going into a game with your base rules. And if you got to be hot once or twice, you have a rule. You don't worry about that, and you don't try and worry about protecting and blocking everything, because there's not many guys. I mean, certainly not me. Certainly not me, whose brains work fast enough to be able to answer everything. So you want to just be able to have some umbrella. You want to be able to have an umbrella that can kind of cover you when shit gets out of control, or for one or two plays in a game.
Exactly, and as long as you don't make those plays the worst plays of the game, you're going to survive. And then you can regroup on the sideline, see the picture on the surface, and it's so easy now to see the picture of like what they're showing, what they're actually bringing, and then adjust from there. As long as you manage it and weather that little storm, you'll find answers for it.
Yeah.
Because every team's going to have a new game plan adjustment or a little wrinkle that's going to catch you off guard. You're not going to have a perfect play called every time, and that's just a fact. Just got to deal with it.
That's why we had the most success with Cam and Carolina when we would just go hurry up. We figured out like late in 2014 because they would just have to run base defense basically. They couldn't disguise anything, and then Cam would just be Cam.
Yeah. That'd be
Football's
so
not that
cool
hard.
to be able to run and throw like that. That'd be sick.
Absolute freak.
Just genetically gifted. Can't relate.
No.
Not like that. One more question before we get into the questions from the audience, or so our podcast, The Never Beens, Britton and I, not has-beens, we're never-beens. Someday think you'll probably be a has-been, and not in the same boat as us. But if you were a never-been, say you go to Oklahoma and Bob Stoops tells you to fuck off, you're not playing on my football team, what would you be doing with your life now?
Ooh. Wow, that's a good question.
Did you graduate from college?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, damn, Glenn.
Yeah, got my degree.
Good.
I'm a good communicator with my degree in communication. Oh, wow, what would I be doing? I'll tell you what. So,
an example, Blake Bortles, if you've ever seen that interview, said he would just be ripping heaters and working construction. So that's an example.
See, I know what I wouldn't be doing. So it took me, when I was at Oklahoma, my whole family's, they're all business degrees. And it took me over 1.5 years to tell them I switched my major. Because I was like, I don't want to do what you guys do. You look miserable. This sounds horrible. So I can tell you what, a 9 to 5 is not in my alley. That's just not my forte. Like I gotta have some sort of interaction where I can mess around with people and not get fired.
Well, I like that. And I'll tell you what, the hardest part is figuring out what you don't want to do. Because as someone who has been trying to figure out what the hell they want to do and trying to get a job for the past 7 months, it's just not that easy.
It's not all it's chalked up to be.
So at least you know one thing that you don't have to pursue.
Yeah.
Hey, just keep crossing them off the list. I used to think I wanted to be an agent. Now looking back, that's complete bullshit. I would never be an agent.
I'll tell you what, though, with that, like the little scruff you got going, throw some shades on and a suit, you could
be Ari. Is it Ari? Am I butchering it, Glenn?
Yeah.
Ari Gold?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the greatest compliment I've ever received. You didn't even make it a compliment, but I made it about one. Thank you.
Well, it's kind of an inside joke between Glench and I. I never really watched Entourage, so he always sends me.
What am I even doing on here?
I know. I know. I wouldn't admit that. Total bullshit.
Hey, I'm honest.
What
is that one?
What do you watch? Shows? Yeah. What did you watch?
Like, let's not get into that. Poor guy.
That might be worse than.
The poor guy watches
Bravo,
and
Real Housewives of Orange County.
He's a big fan of Connor Floyd's day soap opera now.
Days of Our Lives.
Oh yeah.
Did I get that right?
No, it's
Young and the Restless.
Yeah.
Young and Restless. Oh, that's bad. My bad, Connor. Chance Chancellor. That's more your speed?
No, my wife just watches that stuff. I'll watch like Golf Channel.
Gary's a Food Network guy.
I am a big Food Network guy. Love Guy Fieri.
Triple D. That's a good show.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely hilarious that Garrett and Griffin have both just turned into their father.
I don't know Gail that well.
Only golf and Food Network. Now I'm just waiting for one of the two to just never have an inside voice ever and only yell when they talk.
I can see Griff being like, is that a Gail thing?
Gail's gonna love that shout out. 100%.
I love Gail.
Yes, very much so.
Becker gets a pancake. You get a pancake.
All right, but anymore?
Glench, when I came to Austin, twice? 3 times?
Yeah.
Baker, I don't think you were there where we would have met up. It was for the baby shower, Grayson's baby shower. When I first met Gail, I don't think Gail said more than 2 words that entire trip.
Takes a while to warm up.
You would have known. You would have heard him.
Yep. Takes a while to warm up to you.
I need to come back and meet the real Gail. Do we have anything else?
I do have one. It's kind of a sort of a follow-up.
I got time. I got nowhere to be.
Well, okay, that leads me to, I got 2 questions about Friday night and Monday night dinner spots. But before that,
nice.
Yeah, before that. So this is sort of a follow-up to the never been question, but obviously we talked already about it, your resiliency, that's been well documented, and I guess not exactly sure how to necessarily phrase it, but you're tail end of your Cleveland time before you leave. And then last year with Carolina and LA, was there ever doubt about, is this not that it's going to be the end, because I know you're going to get more opportunities. Yeah. Was there ever doubt about, where am I going to go next and what's going to happen next as far as football, or even more than that?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I lost a ton of confidence in Cleveland, just how all that went down. Mm-hmm. It's pretty well documented that, I had played through shoulder injury in 2021, thought I was going to be able to come back healthy and after surgery in 2022 and get another shot. And that's what I was told. Now things that are said there aren't exactly what they actually do. And so it turned, it's crazy, isn't it? Huh. No way.
Welcome to the NFL.
Yeah. No way. You just lied to my face. That's crazy. And so I lost confidence in the fact that I always, I lost confidence in myself because they told me one thing and did the exact opposite. So I'm looking at it like, all right, what did I do wrong? And so I'm going through that spiral of like, what could I have done differently? I'm looking back like maybe I should have shut it down for the year. Maybe I should have had surgery earlier and looked at it from a different perspective. And that is not me. I'm like, all right, everything happens for a reason. So because I was doubting that going into the before I got traded to Carolina, it's just in limbo, and that was a long, tough process for me because I was truly unhappy and didn't even realize it. Was struggling physically, mentally, a lot of things, and so I didn't know what was the next thing. But to me, it felt like whatever happened next was going to be like I need to make the most of it. Like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, not only just to get out of Cleveland because I was kind of being held hostage, but to make the most of whatever opportunity was next. And it was Carolina, and obviously that wasn't the greatest situation either that I walked into.
What an absolute dumpster fire you walked in. We can talk about that for hours because that's where I played, and I'm from Charlotte, and I mean, couldn't have been worse for you.
Charlotte's a great city, though.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it later. We have a question on like favorite city to visit for stuff. We'll get into that, but yeah. Did you like Charlotte? Yeah. What was your favorite part about it? Maybe what was your favorite like go-to restaurant or something like that some of our listeners would appreciate? We
lived over Myers Park, like on the edge of Cherry and Myers Park. So it was only like it was like an 8-minute drive to the stadium in the mornings.
Yep.
Great area. And we had just gotten a puppy while I was in that limbo process, like off season between Cleveland before I got to Carolina. We had just gotten a puppy, and it wound up being like where we got our place was. We loved it. Like just the atmosphere there. Everybody's always active outside.
Yep.
And just, I don't know. There was something about it that everybody seemed happy, but it was, I mean, it's a Southern town. So everybody's kind of polite, manners. But yeah, we had a couple spots over there in that area. I mean, I'm a Tex-Mex fiend. So Ruru's Tacos over there. Got to give a shout out to them. We loved that spot. Yeah. We'd mix it up quite a bit other than that, but we had a good group of friends, and I credit my wife to this. She's an absolute trooper on the journey that we've been on, but she made a lot of friends outside of football. And so we had a good group that we would hang out with that were non-football related, and they made it a blast. And so that was the best part. It's just the people in Charlotte, I think, were great.
Yeah, Charlotte's a good spot. I mean, I'm obviously biased, born here, but a lot of my old teammates in Carolina that weren't from here would stay and settle down here. Like, we tried to get Garrett and Glenn, the Kylie.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Kilmer wanted to do it.
Yeah,
there's
no doubt about that. And let's not. If I hadn't gotten signed away from Cleveland to Dallas, there was a pretty good chance we were coming back. So,
well, and I'll be honest. Until we got to Tampa, Emily was doing the same thing. She would go back to Charlotte in a heartbeat.
All right. Well, if either of y'all ever do, I'm going to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor, Olivia Burson Real Estate. If you ever need any real estate needs in the Charlotte area.
Baker,
the greater Charlotte area. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, good to know.
That's my no free ad plug.
Brownie points.
Except we're not paying her, so yet.
She is our social media manager too, so
yeah, that's true. All right.
I'm just happy Garrett's not doing it.
He is not.
Well, that would be a disaster. Okay, are we ready for? We got anything else? Are we ready for? Well, we do have.
I got one question. I think before Dime Sesh, right?
Yeah.
Is that our next segment? All right.
Yeah.
Bigger currently, maybe every team you've been on, have you ever had a chill guy? A teammate that if you get super heated after a play and back to the sideline, that is the go-to guy that comes to kind of like calm you down?
A Ryan Lindley type.
There's only one Ryan Lindley. No, because in Carolina, Matt Rule was pretty much the opposite of that. He would only make it worse for me.
He tried to be your chill guy, probably.
Yeah.
Make it worse.
In LA, Zach Robinson was really good about it. And honestly, Matthew, when he was on the sideline, he was, I was looking at it from a different perspective, actually trying to help out when he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Those two guys were great. And now Dave Canales is the most positive person I've ever been around. And it's almost like he's faking it, but like I keep trying to get him to say bad things about people, but he just won't do it. He's too nice. So he's just a consistent chill guy.
Do you have any problem saying bad things about people?
No, Garrett, I do not.
Okay, good to know.
I try and I try and bite my tongue every once in a while.
You're a positive guy.
I wear my heart on my sleeves.
He's
I
fiery.
don't think that's.
He's fiery.
Yeah.
I
Real
was
gym
pretty
rat,
chill.
gritty guy.
I was pretty chill for the most part.
First in, last out.
Baker, the reason I asked is Glanch was my chill guy when we were teammates in 17.
He was?
Yeah, well, he would try to. There was one time Cam missed me in a red zone, low red, that Glanch claims he didn't miss me. And I was heated. We had to settle for a field goal in a playoff game. I'm heated on the bench. He comes over to try to chill me out, calm me down. I tell him to go tell that Cam to go fuck off for missing me. And he just started laughing. Glanch just started laughing in my face and spitting sunflower seeds like on my feet.
I'll be honest. So the dynamic of when we were in Cleveland together, he definitely was that for me because between Drew Stanton and Ryan Lindley, they both, I think the three of us probably thought too similar. So we would all get fired up if like one person would say something. Garrett would have to come in with a different mindset.
How many surfaces did we break that year? How many surfaces were broken during the course of that year?
Ooh, there was a few. I didn't partake in breaking the surfaces.
Okay. I would set the over-under at 3, and I think that would be a pretty fair.
I know Lindley at least broke 2.
Yeah.
Was Lindley the quarterback coach, or was he playing?
Yeah.
He was our QB coach. Yeah.
He was a Cardinals quarterback.
We don't have to talk about that game. We don't have to talk about that poor fella's game.
Oh, the playoff game.
Yeah.
That wasn't the best performance.
But yes, it was the Cardinals.
Ryan Lindley is an avid listener. We don't have to talk about that.
Well,
we love B. Ryan.
We do love our friend Lindley. Okay, real quick, and then we're going to get into the dime sesh. Do you have a go-to Friday night after practice week is done and or Victory Monday, Margarita Monday spot in Tampa Bay yet? Because that's an important part of the week.
Yeah, and so this has been the fun part of being on a few teams in the last 2 years is showing people the traditions.
Just for the record, you've only got one entire division's worth of teams left to catch up to me. So,
rookie numbers got to pump those up, huh?
Yeah, I very much hope that's not the case, but I'm just saying we still got a long way to go.
I don't think it's possible to catch them.
So Garrett knows we take our when we're not practicing, when it's time to work, whatever. But when it's time to turn it off and enjoy life outside of football, I do that. And we always try and welcome in as many teammates and girlfriends, wives, whoever it is, as possible. And Margarita Mondays is a real thing. Tuesdays is obviously the nationwide. It's the NFL day off for the players. So you go in Monday, you watch the film, get your workout in, and then you pretty much have the rest of the day off and Tuesday off. So we go in and we had a spot in Cleveland. Shout out to Don Ramon. I mean, just a fantastic spot there.
Yeah, big old schooners, ice cold margaritas. Yeah.
Oh, great spot. And it got to the point where years 3 and 4, we'd probably have a total of 20 people there at one big table on Mondays. There's barely anybody else in the restaurant. It's just a huge group of Browns in there. We found, Ruru's we used in Charlotte quite a bit. It wound up growing a little bit.
Would you go back patio?
Back patio, depending if it was raining or not.
Yeah, they got a good back patio.
Yeah, and then L.A. Emily was staying in. She was in Charlotte, and then cut the distance down halfway to Omaha, where her parents are. When I was in L.A., and so Mondays were pretty much just a few of the receivers, and they were like, "What do you mean Margarita Monday?" I'm like, "Come on, you're coming with me. We're going to Los Agaves in Westlake, California, and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about the game and talk about everything else, and just enjoy it, be around each other, and have fun." And so that's a big thing for me, is just to hit a little reset button, be around the guys outside of football. But here, we're still working on it. There's a couple good local watering holes that they do a really good job, but I wouldn't say that we have the schedule nailed down to a T, though.
Okay. All right. Well, there's still time.
Yeah.
Not
Still figuring it out on the fly.
It's not a Margarita Monday host, but someone in Charlotte we were talking about steakhouses, and I don't know why he was saying his favorite steakhouse or restaurant he's ever been to is in Tampa, and I can't remember the name, but apparently it has like the biggest wine list in the world or something.
Burns.
Yeah, that's it.
It's got the largest. Yeah, that was actually Emily's first night when she flew in here. We went to Burns. Yeah, it's got the largest wine cellar in the country. I mean, it's unbelievable, and it's all underground. It's crazy. We got a special tour. They obviously took care of us there and took us down there. But then on top of that, restaurant's its own thing. And like, if you look at the building from the outside, you think it's an old strip club. Nothing. It's just all white. It's just like there's no advertising or anything. It's just they've been doing it for so long and so well. It's unbelievable. Emily says it's the best steak she's ever had when she went. But so we ate, went down in the wine cellar, saw that. Best part is the dessert room. You have to make a reservation for the dessert room.
Forgot about
you walk upstairs and you get like a little private room. You get like your own little music thing that you get to control it. And basically, like, it's like old school jazz. They have dessert cocktails, some of the best dessert you can have. Like, it was so good. So I highly recommend if anybody ever comes to Tampa, trying that out.
I'm in. Say no more.
Yeah.
Blanche, let's go down for a game.
All right, I'm in.
Let's go down for the Thursday game.
I already said it. Okay.
I think it might be the last game of the year. Or is that one in Charlotte?
Well, both of the Panthers games are in December, so we'll be down for one of them, guaranteed. Put it on the calendar.
I know Emily's going to Charlotte for that one.
Okay. Maybe we'll come to Charlotte too. What do you think?
And then stay forever.
Live.
Or we can find you a house.
Live.
Stay here as long as you can.
Live podcast episode. I don't know. Could be something to it. Business expense. All right, we ready for the dime sesh?
Yep.
Okay. Do we need to explain? Do we need a little self-suck here?
I mean,
I think we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Explain it.
Well, why don't you do it? You coined it.
Well, the dime sesh for this is just 10 quick questions to get to know you a little bit more. But the actual dime
sesh is not real fast. It is not presented by Mamitas, but Bullets.
It's presented, I guess, free ad by Coors Light, not Mamitas, like Caleb. But the actual dime sesh started in Carolina when Glanch would get. How many times do you think DA actually let you run the scout team? Twice?
Two or three during the whole year.
So Glanch, for the most, he would do throws versus air, but the rest of practice, he just sat there next to Shula and Dorsey and did absolutely
throws versus air. Did he even get an equipment guy to go throw to, or is he just having to play catch with himself?
It was very.
He would make me run back and run the route again so he could get a throw in.
Well,
yeah, good friend.
Yeah.
But anyway, the 2 times he got in, I don't remember the first one, but the second one was our playoff prep for the Saints in 2017, and he absolutely picked our starting defense apart the entire practice. Everyone was like, some of the defenders were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Guy's slinging it." And so who created the name? Was it Cam? DA? Me?
No, that was yours truly. DA was sick. That's the only reason I got to practice.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, the dime sesh.
This dime sesh, 10 quick questions. We'll sort of just alternate, and some of them may be quick, one word. Some of them may take a little more time to explain. Burst, lead us out.
Are these your questions?
Yeah, we're
These
asking you.
are our questions.
Okay.
We organized these. All right. My buddies and I had this discussion the other day, and it might be different for y'all being from Texas in the Carolinas. Go to fast food. So if you're on like a road trip, pull off. All the top brands are available. No lines or anything. You're picking your go-to for breakfast and lunch. So give us the answer for both.
First of all, Texas is the greatest country ever. Whataburger.
Amen. See, told you. Easy answer.
We don't have Whataburger here. We're trying to get it, but for both breakfast and lunch.
Ooh,
obviously.
Well, breakfast there. Lunch. Oh man. See, I'm a Chick-fil-A guy.
That's
right. Yeah,
I'm a Chick-fil-A
you're
guy
going-
for lunch.
taking that at it.
What's your order?
From Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Well, what day is it? Do I have to weigh in the next day, or is this a normal day?
This is road trip off season.
Road trip off season. All right. Garrett introduced me to their special cheese sauce. It isn't on the menu, which I had no idea about.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it'll blow your mind.
How do you get it?
You just ask for it.
You ask for it.
You just say, "Can I have this special cheese sauce?"
Oh, well, you don't have to make it sound like that.
You
You
don't-
just
you
say,
don't
"Can I have the
have to-
Do I have to wink? Do I have to wink at them too?
Can I have the special sauce?" No, you asked for the cheese sauce, and I was like that. I thought they were messing with me when he told me that. 2 chicken sandwiches, 12-count nugget,
Let's go.
and honestly, I'm a barbecue sauce guy.
I love their barbecue sauce.
Yeah, me too.
What was it? What was
Every
it?
once in a while,
What was it you used to? Didn't you used to mix two of them together?
Chick-fil-A and barbecue.
Chick-fil-A and barbecue.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Good order.
Listen, I might be by myself here. I'm not a big waffle fry guy.
Oh my God.
It
Well,
depends.
I used to be when you could order them well done. Now they're soggy half the time.
Yeah, if they're hit or miss.
Yeah.
This was so just a little. Baker and I every day. Baker housed me in Cleveland for months and months in 2019, and
You
it was
mooch.
Wednesday, right? It was Chick-fil-A Wednesdays, right?
Yeah, Wednesdays.
Because I think Thursdays we didn't have to condition or something, so we would go to Chick-fil-A on the way home. I want to say our bill was like $40, which seems difficult to accomplish. Maybe 50. It was
God's chicken.
Yeah,
It's
it
for a
was
good
cheap.
cause.
And then we'd come home, destroy Chick-fil-A, go upstairs. Baker would turn Call of Duty on, throw his headphones on, and I'd put what was that show? Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm on, and that's how we'd spend Wednesday afternoons.
Was this? This sounds like something that would go on in like 9th grade.
No, this was like 4 years ago.
This is pretty much the story of the Gilbert household growing up. I'm playing video games. Everybody else is just hanging out.
I'm a big video game guy.
Yeah, Emily wasn't very happy during that time period. Actually, she wasn't happy with me. She actually could talk to Garrett. I had my headphones on playing Xbox the whole time.
You love it.
That's
You could go play Call of Duty and someone could entertain your wife / girlfriend, whatever she was at the time.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going Whataburger for breakfast. But here's the great thing about Whataburger. We used to make it a habit growing up when we were younger of going to Whataburger. They start serving breakfast at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Late night Whataburger is the best.
Late night Whataburger is all time.
Yep.
Nothing better.
I love that.
Yeah.
We need that in Charlotte because the first time we had it in Austin, it was just me and Olivia, and it was a miss. They messed up the order. But then when you got it for us, or we went after Artisan, it was money.
Yeah. Well, franchise opportunities. Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, favorite drink / cocktail.
Margarita,
Same.
Easy.
without a doubt. Reposado, not Blanco.
Ooh, see, I'm a Blanco guy.
I like the reposado. I'm with you. Just
It's
a
a
little
little
bit.
I'll drink.
It's not as bitter, a little bit sweet.
Little something. A little more something.
Yeah.
Okay.
No salt. Can't do it.
Oh, you're a no salt guy. Oh, I was going to ask,
Yeah.
frozen or on the rocks?
Frozen with a beer in it.
God dang.
Like a Coronita?
More like a mini Dos Equis.
Okay. All right. Glenn, take this one.
Okay, go-to meal when it's time to cook for M at home.
Oh man. Ooh. Steak and some mushrooms.
Okay.
And then, to be honest with you, that's my specialty right there.
There you go.
Steak
You
and
don't need-
mushrooms.
What kind
Yeah.
of steak?
Gotta go with a fillet. She's a fillet girl. But you know what? I watched Gary grill a lot of steaks. He's a big ribeye guy, and you know what? I'm just not that guy. I can't do it.
Too fatty?
Yeah, too fatty. Great flavor though.
What's your favorite vacation spot?
Bahamas.
Anywhere specific?
We wound up getting a place in the Bahamas. This is just recently, but we've been fortunate enough to travel all over. But it's just our happy place. Water's so clear. Love it so much. And obviously now being here in Tampa, we went for Labor Day weekend, an hour flight, and you land in Marsh Harbor, and then it's like a 30-minute boat ride over. It's like a golf cart only community. It's great.
Does it happen to have a similar name to your name?
Yes, it is called Baker's Bay.
And where you play? Tampa Bay.
That's
it's like a little hybrid.
Look at that.
Didn't even think about that one.
So does that answer the next question? Favorite golf course that you've played is that number one, or does somewhere else take the top spot?
It'd be my favorite to consistently golf, but my favorite one I've ever played was on our honeymoon. We were in Maui, and just the views between that one, and then we also went to Dominican, and there were only 2 shots when we were in the Dominican that you couldn't see the ocean. And it was like a tee box that was faced the opposite way, and then one shot that was tucked behind some trees. But that was the most beautiful course I've ever seen in my life. So, and that's kind of our thing is
does Emily, who wins more often?
Oh, she's a golfer.
She is a golfer. Don't let her sandbag you. She likes to lie. Hey, this is our podcast.
She weighing in?
She's trying to. No, we base all our vacations off golf, but she gives me a run for my money. But I've gotten a lot better over the last couple of years.
What's your handicap? For the
I'm about a 12 right now. We're starting to get it down a little bit lower, but yeah, I got mental issues on the tee box.
Galanch over here is trending up, so y'all are getting a little closer. We might have to have a match.
The Gag's trending up.
We'll see. We'll see come February. All right.
Hey, we got year-round golf weather here.
Yes, you do.
Who's to say I won't go play on an off day?
That was going to be my follow-up question. Have you played down there yet? Have you played is it Innisbrook or String Song or any of those?
I played Innisbrook. Bruce Arians had his foundation event there just a couple weeks after the tour event that was here. The greens were so hard. The course itself.
Hard, like physically hard or hard?
Undulation. No, undulation. It reads everything. Like the pace, like that was the hardest I've ever had job of putting. Yeah.
Was it a Copperhead course or was it one of the other ones?
Yeah.
That you played?
Yeah.
Copperhead?
It was. Yeah. So it was, I mean, that was the toughest. And like the course itself, like it wasn't like they had thick rough or anything, like trees you could manage around.
I've played down there before. It's a nice course. But
putting, I was like, oh my goodness. I feel like I've never putted before in my life.
I mean, I've seen you putt before. You mostly look like you've never putted before, but
it can kind of relate to my basketball game. We got no finesse on the green.
Is that a quarterback thing? Because Galanch, your putting stresses me out.
Not now. I got the spider, baby. I am back.
Are you back?
Yeah, as back as I can possibly be without having used my new putter yet. Yes.
Okay. You haven't used it yet?
Once for 9 holes. Yeah.
So you're just assuming that you're going to be better with it?
I am calling it right now.
He made a couple carpet putts, so he thinks he's ready.
That's exactly right. Hey, it's your turn. Go on. Move on. I've heard enough about my putting.
All right, favorite movie?
My favorite movie series is the Bourne series.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. What's your favorite one from the series?
It's probably Ultimatum.
Is that the second one?
Third.
The second one, I think, might be my least favorite. The first one probably.
It goes Identity, Supremacy,
Ultimatum.
And there's one called
then there's
Jason or whatever.
Yeah, which it was good as well, but You can tell they were just trying to make money off that last one.
Yeah. Okay. First car. And what are you driving these days?
Ooh. Oh, got some surprises here. This is a good story here. My first car. So I didn't get my driver's license. This goes back to our childhood. All of our friends, including Garrett, used to drive me around everywhere because I wasn't going to have a car, so I felt no need to go take my driver's test.
I did the same thing.
Yeah,
I did the exact same thing.
I didn't get my license until well into my senior year, and I would practice with our grandparents had a Yukon XL. I would practice with that thing, which is like driving a school bus. Actually, no, correction. I got that flipped. Excuse me. Would drive practicing with Toyota Camry. Then they made me take my driver's test with the Yukon XL.
Yeah.
That was the hardest test. Yeah, that was the hardest test to try and parallel park. So I took the test with that, but my first car was actually Toyota Camry, and then I still have my car that my parents got me for college, a 2013 Tahoe back home in Austin. So I still have that one.
Okay.
But now I'm driving I just got a Ford Bronco Raptor.
Ooh,
really liking that thing.
Yeah, 2-door, 4-door.
Yep, 4-door.
4-door. Yeah, I had the 2-door, not the Raptor, but when it first came out.
Yeah,
sick car.
I love it.
Yeah,
looks nice.
All right, couple football ones. What's your favorite route to throw?
You have to give us the number if you know it.
Yeah, from the tree.
Well, I love throwing a go ball, a 9 route for you guys. But it's my favorite one is probably I think it's an out.
Quick or quick 3? Regular 3?
No, he likes a big 3, and he knows that he should complete 19 out of 20. I know that much. I know that much very well.
Why not 20?
Well, a little room for error. We're professional football players.
Drop percentage?
We are professional football players, and we should complete 19 out of 20.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite college and pro stadium to play in?
Got some good thunder here. Favorite college place I've played at. Okay. It's tough. Like obviously playing in Oklahoma, it's tough to go against the Cotton Bowl for the neutral site against Texas. Atmosphere-wise, best place. But away stadium that I played at Tennessee.
Ooh,
it was that atmosphere was unbelievable.
What year was that?
Was that your first year at Oklahoma, so 2015.
Okay. And that was one of your first games, right?
Yeah, it was like week 2.
Yeah. So you guys
they're good now, but
Saginaw State or something like that, and then you went for a real game.
Yeah. And like it's such a bowl. Like people talk about how Michigan Stadium's a bowl, but like it's like that, and then their upper deck sits on top of it, and it's like so vertical.
It's like built on the like hill with the river, right?
So the sound the sound just stays in there.
It doesn't leave, and that was the loudest game I've ever been a part of. And that was the best atmosphere. So I got to say that one.
Okay. What about pro? And this could be you could tie this all in together. Favorite away game city too, because some of those are more fun than others. You go to some other city, you go to some cities and a little more options for dinner.
I don't know what it is about like this has nothing to do with the dinner stuff because I would not pick this place. Besides Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse, they're in Cincy. I don't know why, but I always play really, really good in Cincy. There's something about it. It's not my favorite stadium by any means, but I always have a good game there. I loved going to Lambeau, even though I've gotten my head kicked in multiple times there. It's just when you walk into that stadium, you can feel the history. It's so sweet.
The coolest part is I don't know where y'all would stay. Well, Glance, you said you never played there, right?
That's what I was gonna. Yeah. Are there any that you haven't been to yet? I'll let.
Yeah, but you fly in, or we stayed in Appleton, which
we did too.
South, like outside Green Bay. and then you take the bus, and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. You take like a left turn, and then it's like these like residential houses, and then just Lambeau.
Yep.
And it just looks completely out of place. It's cool though.
It's unlike any other place you play at. Atmosphere wise, like you just because I grew up a Brett Favre fan too, and so grew up watching the Packers, but not that I was a Packers fan, but and just you walk in there, you see all the names and like the Ring of Honor. It's sweet.
It's different.
So that place is good.
The hallway from the opposing locker room going to the field that like goes basically in the end zone, like behind the
post, but directly like, behind the goalpost.
It's like this tight, narrow corridor, and it's like a quarter mile. Like a long walk.
And the stairs to get down to. Yeah. Got a couple guys falling there on the stairs.
Wait, Glenn, what were you saying?
Oh, just are there any that you haven't been to yet?
Have not played. I played in college at Miami, but haven't played there yet.
Yeah.
Trying to think here. Haven't played at Washington. Haven't played at Soldier Field. Haven't played. Let's see here. Yeah, there's only a couple that I haven't been to.
Yeah.
I loved going to Arizona. I'll be honest, for the food.
That was a
Phoenix had some good
food.
Was
a very fun trip in 2019.
Steak 44.
Yeah, we did do steak 44 and
a red velvet cake. Oof. Mission.
Yeah, that's right. Mission. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's probably my favorite place to go visit for the food purposes.
Okay, two more. Number one, favorite coach that you've had?
Ever?
Yeah.
Ever. Any level.
I mean, I'm going college, but it's tough to go Bob versus Lincoln because they did it in such a different way. They both did it in the best way they could. Bob was obviously a legend, but I loved playing for him. But Lincoln and I were so close, so it's I can't pick between those two guys.
You can pick both.
Yep. And then lastly, favorite player growing up, and you may have already answered that a few seconds ago.
Besides Glanch, favorite pro player growing up.
It was Brett Favre, but I also thought I was going to be like a running back or a receiver. Which, how delusional is that?
So did you have a favorite receiver or running back?
I watched Adrian Peterson. He was my favorite running back, and receiver wise, I used to love watching Randy Moss highlights.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
He was one of my favorites growing up. You're built a little differently than Adrian Peterson.
Just slightly.
And Randy Moss, for that matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay,
right,
that concludes the Dime Sesh.
All right, last segment of the interview.
I gotta go real fast. I am going to piss my pants.
Piss yourself. All right, I'll pause it. It lets me. All right. The last segment, and we're gonna do this every week, is trivia. Because I love trivia. So does Blanche. Not sure if that's your thing. But
trivia.
I'm going to fire it off. Y'all can work together to try to answer it. And I have two questions, both state of Texas themed. Okay. First one, the roots of this go back to Texas beginnings. The word Texas itself comes from the Caddo word for what? The Caddo were a confederacy of Native American tribes that dominated East Texas. So basically, what does the word Texas mean?
Too easy. It's Tejas, and it means friends. Come on.
Damn. Did you know that, Vic?
Absolutely not.
I didn't pay attention in history class.
All right. Well, all right, we'll go to the other one then.
Nerd.
All right, you ready for this one? Although it does not have formal borders, West Texas is well known for its massive arid climate and relative lack of large cities. What are the 2 largest cities in West Texas?
El Paso.
And I don't know if it's Amarillo or Lubbock. I don't know.
It's got to be Amarillo.
Amarillo.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Lubbock.
Damn.
I mean, context clues. I asked it. Texas
Shut
Tech.
up.
Come on.
Shut up.
Okay.
Okay.
1 for 2.
I mean,
Well, is that counting?
did we cover some stuff?
I wonder if that's counting population for school.
All right, here's another. I have a bunch of questions because I was just researching trivia questions. Here's a Lubbock question. Avenue H in Lubbock, Texas was renamed to honor which rock and roll legend?
Buddy Holly.
Damn, Blanche is a trivia savant.
I lived in Lubbock probably for longer than Baker, who went to school there briefly.
Yeah.
This is more of a fun fact.
Also, Baker couldn't even get into Chimmy's during his time at Lubbock or at Tech. So
I've heard of Chimmy's, I think. Charlotte's the Queen City. Apparently, Dallas is Queen City of the West. You ever heard that?
No.
I've never heard that before.
No, I have not.
Last one. You can probably guess the top 2 languages spoken in Texas. English
and Spanish. Yeah.
What's the third? 4th is Chinese.
French.
No.
Damn. I have no clue.
Vietnamese.
What?
Learn something new every day.
Apparently, there's a big-ish Vietnamese population in Texas.
In where?
West Texas, maybe?
I have no clue. Okay, we covered some topics today.
We did.
Baker, we thank you for coming on first. And then secondly, if you're sure, knowing who submitted some of these questions, you want to get into some audience submitted questions real fast before we let you go.
I would love to.
All right, wonderful. Number 1.
This one was submitted from Zach from Austin, Texas.
Oh, God.
If he could do it over again, would he turn the other way or maybe do another move to try and get away from the police officer he ran from in Arkansas?
Oh, good question. Thanks from Zach from Austin. No, see, here's the thing. In my state of mind at that point, I thought I was gonna sneak away. So if you watch back on the video, I put my hood up and like slowly start to walk away. And like, of course, it's one of those things like I think I'm just like nobody's noticing. And I take off and not realizing because couldn't even see 10 feet in front of me that there's a few more officers over there just waiting.
So what would you have done differently?
Just not move and I wouldn't have been in trouble.
All right. Next one. This is from Grant.
No. There's one more. There's one more here, right above that.
Oh, you got that one. I don't know who that's from.
Do you have any body art?
Is this from? Okay.
Could be from
yes,
any...
I have a few tattoos.
Not there. No, not those.
Like lower back area.
I'm talking more in like the ass region.
Tramp stamp butt area.
Wow. Okay. Well, yes. So my senior year, there's a couple guys that I'm still really good friends with from my graduating class in high school, but most of my friends are all older, and they all came back for obviously college breaks, long December, early January, and we were over at the Gilbert household. And somebody made a bet that I wouldn't get my ass cheeks branded. Obviously, Kim and Gail were not home, and this might be the first time they're hearing this story. I don't know. So we got a clothes hanger, 2 clothes hangers actually, and formed them into an S and a B. So I have an S on my left cheek for Shake and a B on my right cheek for Bake. But the S was better than the B, I'll say that, because I didn't even lay down for it. I was like standing up. So on the B, I moved and they like double stamped it. Yeah, I did some dumb shit when I was younger.
Okay.
Oh man, that's an all-timer. All right, your turn.
All right. Like I said earlier, this one's from Grant from Austin, Texas.
Thanks, Grant, from Austin, Texas.
Okay. This is a baseball question.
Huh.
Why didn't you hit your home run, in quotes, / foul ball 6 feet more to the left in the state tournament? Why does that make you a bad teammate?
Oh, that is spoken like a true Astros fan. What a prick. Yeah, we're in the state semifinals my junior year. And bottom of the 7th inning in high school, games only go to 7 innings. And they bring in this closer who's supposed to be some hotshot guy throwing hard. I'm like, all right, this guy's going to try and definitely throw a fastball to like intimidate me first pitch. So first pitch, I get up there. I'm the first batter in the bottom of the 7th. It's tie ball game. Swing and yank one, probably less than 6 feet foul. And then would have sent us to the state championship.
Then what happened?
A couple pitches later, I hit it to the warning track.
Oh, at least you didn't strike out.
One out.
And then we lost.
Shout out Roy Canan on you would have gotten him a state championship. But, whatever. Good try.
Damn.
Grant never won one, so I don't really care about him.
Were you the 3/4 hitter?
I was hitting 4. Yeah, I was hitting 4.
I think that's a good way to end it.
Okay.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Can't even. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we really.